So the spirits want to talk today about grounding, that concept of grounding. We all know it in terms of mindfulness and in terms of fixing us in our bodies, grounding us in our, kind of rooting us, if you like, in the ground, rooting us to the earth. And there's a lovely sense of peace and kind of harmony we feel when we feel within our bodies. But why is that? Why, what is actually going on when, and the spirits really want to talk a little bit more in detail about what it is that happens when we ground ourselves and why it's so healthy for us. And the opposite of that, to not be grounded, means to, if we're all energies, which we are, we're all energies, our energy is fixed in our bodies when we're born. And if that energy becomes shifted out from our physical bodies, which it does when various things happen to us in our life, perhaps traumas or things that we don't want to be doing, or we have this flickering all the time of moving within and without our bodies. We don't necessarily, just because we're born in our physical bodies, we don't necessarily remain in them completely. There's this movement where we're left feeling kind of, from time to time, we're kind of left feeling absent. Like, where did I go then? Where did I go? And what's happened is that our energy body, our energy spirit, has shifted out from our physical body. So when we ground ourselves, we bring our energy, if you like, back into our physical body. But we have to accept that the doing of that is more of a choice, because we could equally shift our energy further out from our body and not really feel that kind of consciousness within it. But what happens when we shift out of our body more is that there's a vacant space there. And what happens in a vacuum is a vacant space does get filled. A vacant space will not remain vacant. And so other spirit forms will move in. Other spirit forms. And this kind of sounds quite scary in a way, but it's something we're used to happening. It's a subconscious thing. It happens in our dreams much more. There's that movement between, because it's like we're all truly in the subconscious realm. And so what happens is the spirits move through us, in us, out. There's this, we're much more part of a full tapestry, a full fabric, than this concept of separation that we have doesn't really exist. There's much more movement of all sorts of different kind of beings and spirits that move in and out of us and with us and through us. And sometimes we get hooked into those spirits and we end up going in that direction. Sometimes it's a positive direction. The darker spirits hook into us, we can go into a darker direction. And momentum can build in either direction, which is why we feel that sense of, well, why did I go so far down that road? Well, we go so far down that, perhaps a negative road, because we moved outside of our own body, we kind of left more of a gap, and a gap will be filled by something else. It doesn't mean we're not responsible for what we do. This is our body. We must be responsible for what we do in our lives. Absolutely. Fact. But the more we're moving out of our body, actually the less we're feeling that sovereignty, that true sovereignty, that true sovereignty. We're feeling that less, and that's, if you like, we love that feeling of sovereignty, because that's the grounding feeling. That's us being connected with our body, therefore connected with the earth. But why does it feel so off when we say, for example, have been so distracted by the world around us? we've just been spinning, spinning, spinning. We all do it. We go down rabbit holes, and we end up, perhaps for weeks, we might have not come back to ourselves fully, deeply come back to ourselves. And if we're shifting out from ourselves, something else will be moving in. And it's a very, very subtle thing. It's not like, you know, the aliens have landed. It's not like that. It's something we're used to. We're all one fabric. We are used to the movement. But unless we own our sovereignty, you know, either we do our meditations, we silence our mind, or we find ways to ground ourselves in what we perhaps love to do and enjoy to do. Sovereignty, like anything else, is self-created. Because we are not separate. Separation and sovereignty has to be created. And so when we do these silent things and these things that focus on ourselves, and it's damn difficult to do because we live in a world now where there is so much noise. I mean, the psychological noise is everywhere. It's buzz, 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 buzzing. We've got social media spinning, spinning, spinning in that direction, spinning over there, spinning over there. There's conversations constantly, constantly boiling and boiling and fizzing and boiling. And it's like this maelstrom all the time of just on, move, 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 move. And it is so, so difficult to step back into, but that's what it is. It's like stepping back into ourselves. Where are we? Where's our child? Where's our direction? Where's our life force? Where's our energy? And it's almost like if we're not gaining sovereignty of our own energy, there are bodies to be had. There are spirits they haven't lived for a long time. They want to get in on the party. They want to experience things, take us down these roads, enjoy darker pleasures that they would perhaps enjoy. There are roller coasters that we can end up going onto almost without our consent, really. As I say, we are 100%, we are responsible for what we do. We must be, we have to be. We have to take responsibility. But that said, the movement away from our own energy source, our physical being, means that it's like opening a window. And you know what it's like when you open a window, lots of insects and bugs and things like that all come in. Well, unless we are absolutely owning and creating our own sovereignty, we are opening windows. Do we want to be opening windows? Well, probably not. You know, who knows what kind of... The world is so much more mysterious than we realise. There's so much more going on in the world. The subconscious world particularly, because the subconscious world, we can't see it visually with our eyes. We can feel it going on. We can feel that change in ourselves. You know, we might have a little spark of anger about something or someone. And then how did it suddenly grow and grow and grow, like this massive snowball that's rolled and rolled, and suddenly we're really hating something, and we're getting onto social media and we're really expanding this hate. It only started as a tiny little spark. It really did. How did that spark become a massive bonfire? How did that happen? How did that go from that to that? Did we have sovereignty over that? So what does that mean for us if we move away from our own centered energy? That's why we talk about our energy being centered. Is because that's almost exactly what it is. It's no coincidence that we use these words. So it's like if we're off center, we're not filling our whole body with the core of our energy. So it leaves space. It leaves space for other things to move around in there, if you like. And it's a very subtle art. It's a very subtle thing. And generally, when we've moved away from pleasures. good, decent, hobby, lovely pleasures in our own body for us to shift our energy out of it to a certain degree. So for example, if we had a day ahead of us that we had to spend the whole day cleaning and we really hated cleaning. It's a subtle thing like that. It's like, how are we going to just kind of check out? We kind of check out from where we are being, but perhaps we listen to an audiobook or something like that, so we're able to stay within, but perhaps not. We perhaps just completely check out. And so the question is, if we've checked out and we don't remember doing that cleaning, we don't remember doing that day, who is there? Who is there checking in? Generally speaking, if there's a vacuum, we've left our pleasurable things or our pleasurable. There are ways, of course, to do that cleaning and still remain centered, for example. But if we've not remained centered and gone off center, if you like, first of all, it's generally because we've lost any kind of pleasure in ourselves. That's the first thing. We've made the gap, we've made the hole, we've opened the window. And if we've reached that negative stage, the law of attraction will match that with spirits that come in with that same match of negativity. So there won't be positive spirits milling around and filling the window, I'm afraid. There won't be positive ones coming in. They will be the negative ones that we kind of go on a journey with, perhaps for that day. We spend the day with. And it will seem quite good, they'll sell us things, but it will go pretty dark, and we'll end up probably much more self-hating, much more of this. It's kind of like, we can't see bacteria in the world. Obviously, it's been proven scientifically with microscopes, etc., that bacteria exist. So we believe it, even though visually we can't see it. So really, the dark spirits are very much like they're working like bacteria, really. Why is this so unreasonable? Yes, it does sound quite far-fetched. But when you feel it and you see it, and you begin to actually see it, you see it in action. Yeah, you start to see it in action. And if we make the gap, we shift off the center, we make the gap, the law of attraction will bring us in the dark. We've off-centered from our pleasure. Perhaps we've gotten really sad or resentful or upset. We've moved off-center, we've shifted. We don't want to be in our body because we're not experiencing joy. When we have ecstasy, we want to be in our body. The less and less we move away from pleasures, the less we want to be in our bodies. So the more pain-filled we are, the less we wish to be in our bodies. And when we shift off, that opens the window. And we've shifted off from ownership and from sovereignty. And so what will come in and fill the gap will be different, will be spirits that are moving in. And this is what they want to express in more detail from the subconscious world. Because we're all in this soup. We are all in this soup. We currently are in possession, if you like, in charge or managing our bodies. But it's more of a management. It's more of a management than anything else. How are we managing being in our bodies? Are we managing? How much are we disappearing from our bodies? And then allowing something else to step in. It's almost like the train keeps going even though there's no driver. Because you're in the body still, so the train is still going on. But, where's the driver gone? Where's the driver? The difficulty with this is, of course, we all have things and dreams and hopes and dreams, and we want to create all these things. In order to do that, we have to have our sovereignty. So we'll still limp along. We'll probably limp along in certain things we don't feel very good at, for example. Say you want to get a law degree or something, and you've you've just come from a family where you've been treated like you're the stupid one. You know, whatever it is you want to do, you've got that consciousness that you're the stupid one. So when you get near to these goals, you'll have a battle on your hands. And the thing of it is, the battle is not just with you and your state of consciousness and all the things that you absorb, the negativity you've absorbed about being silly or stupid or clumsy or whatever it is. Everything, all those gaps will be filled by the darker spirits who will move in on that bacteria. And so it's almost like bacteria. So it's almost like that momentum that grows of the self-hate. You might go down these rabbit holes of self-hate every time you kind of study, that kind of thing. This momentum that grows, the battle is so hard is because it's not just within our own absorption of things that we have absorbed. We have opened the windows and then attracted an equal, which kind of the multiples or the spirits, those darker spirits that come in, the multiples I call them, because there are many of them, they will feed off this darkness. They will feed off this self-doubt, this self-worth. It's all part of their food. And so it grows. Why does that sort of self-hate that we have grow so much? Because it's being added onto and added onto and added onto by more and more multiples. You know, or a certain amount of multiples, or many, or a few, but they'll be filling in those gaps. And so that's why when we go on these negative benders, it can be so hard to come out of it because other things have jumped on that wagon, you know, all hanging off, you know, ooh, this is a nasty ride now. We're all going, let's all hang on and ooh, it's delicious. It's so, this person is really, ooh, we can feel good. We can feel really good. This person's feeling so. Those sort of darker spirits who benefited and enjoyed the worthlessness of others, that sense of superiority over others, will jump onto that ride like bacteria. So yes, that's why some of these obstacles that we try to overcome are made even more doubly hard for us. So centering ourselves allows us to, it works because in a sense we can achieve a kind of separation from something we're not separate from. You know, there are all these spirits around us all the time. Dark, lighter, very light, very dark, all kinds of levels of these spirits around us. And how much we're letting them in and how much control we're giving them is up to us and our own joy and pain, balance, and our own sovereignty over ourselves. So, you know, it can turn into a very nasty ride. And of course, is there any benefit from the darker spirits for us to achieve all these wonderful goals? No, not really. Why? Why would it be in their benefit? They're no longer in bodies anymore. They haven't got that delicious ride that they're enjoying. They're in the spirit form. They're in the energy form, the subconscious form. They're not in a physical body. We're in the physical body. You know, it's for us to be making good use of this, you know, to enjoy it, to achieve our goals, to expand ourselves, to, you know, to learn more, to grow. We all want to grow just like plants. But it is not in their interest for us to do that. Because they lose. It's like thinking of them really as sort of mini little, or quite big or horrible, hedonists. They're pleasure bent. They're bent on pleasure. That's their journey. That they're stuck on that. That's all they're interested in. And because they haven't got the physical body anymore in order to enjoy that ride, their only option is to find a match and hop on the human ride. So law of attraction, they can only hop on that ride by you feeling the match with it of worthlessness or just a failure, just such a failure. Woohoo, they're on. And that's the kind of journey that we're going on. So the fight can be really tough. And, you know, if you're trying to achieve something special and important in your life, it can be so very, very tough, digging yourself. And it can feel like such a deep, deep, dark, dark hole. And of course, the same for addiction as well. You know, any kind of addiction, they'll love all of that. So it's like, it's made so much harder by the fact that we're not really on our own doing this. We're not just fighting our own demons, if you like. We're fighting the spiritual ones as well, who, like bacteria, will sway, will move and sway, they'll move and sway, then they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. So really, unless we create our own self, in a sense, our own self is a created thing. We have to create that sovereignty for ourselves. We have to create that life force for ourselves, that solidity, because it ain't solid. We're not really solid beings. We're energy fixed to that body, to our bodies. But there's movement within that body that can go in and out. And as they're expressing, the more pain our bodies have absorbed, the more difficult it is to remain within our bodies. We don't remain in our bodies, we move out from our bodies just a little bit, or to certain different degrees. Some of us at different times in the day might just move out a tiny bit, a lot, a huge amount. So there's all these degrees. And that depends on, we might find that certain darker ones follow us and they wait for those moments. We know, whisper. They whisper, you know, she's gonna fall off that wagon. She's gonna crash. She's gonna be back on the bottle, or whatever it is, perhaps whatever that addiction is, or back on the drugs. You know, she's gonna. If we understand this, it really begins to help us. It helps us so much if we can. And yes, it is hugely far-fetched. Yes, but if it just gels and we feel it's right, as I do, we just know it is. And if we have that knowing, about this, it makes our journey so much easier, because we can start to make that kind of separation between ourselves, our own obstacles, our own challenges, and those toxic kind of spirits, the toxic spirits who really are trying to get us to do exactly that, fall off the wagon, get back to the drugs. The whispering, you can't do that. We start it with the movement off the body. We start the gaps, which we have to look at. We have to look at the triggers. We have to look at our own triggers deeply. Why did I go back on those drugs then? What were the series of triggers what were those downers, that things that really hit me and hurt me? Doesn't matter how silly they might be to someone else. It doesn't matter how petty or silly or whatever anyone else thinks. What did I feel about that? How did I feel about that? Acknowledge the sovereignty of our own feelings on something as the most important thing. If we don't do that, we are saying other people's feelings and thoughts are more important than ours. And there's your sovereignty gone. Our sovereignty, we don't need to tell anyone about our feelings if we think they're silly or whatever, but we can take full ownership and acceptance of them and look at them, where they come from. Every time that happens, why does that happen, that same pattern? And we're all going through these similar things to a greater or lesser extent. And we're all attacked and kind of overwhelmed to a greater or lesser extent as well by what the spirit world, the dark spirits in particular, want to achieve. Imagine if we all achieved all of our goals and all our opportunities and all of our dreams. Imagine what kind of place that would look like for us all as human beings if we were all doing that. What would be left for those bacteria, those dark spirits? What's left for them? They have absolutely no interest in us as human beings evolving more and growing. That's the last thing they want us to do. So, and this is crucial, is that the more sensitive among us will have a tendency to be more brutalized in their childhood and through their life. And this is no coincidence, because the more sensitive among us who have a deeper connection with the subconscious, and they hear and see, we all have access to this if we open the doors. We all have access to this. It's not something that only some people are allowed to participate in and perceive. No, we all have that perception. It depends how much we open the door to it, really. And as you can tell, I've opened the door to it quite wide. But then that's because I'm highly sensitive, and there are many highly sensitive out there who feel all these things, but oh, you can't speak about that. That's too weird. No. Oh no, that's too weird. We can't. I'm just obviously oversensitive about, whoa, no. No. What are you perceiving? What are you hearing? So the darker spirits have no interest, and there'll be more bullying going on. More bullying going on with the sensitive souls, because they don't want to be exposed. The only way for them to kind of live and breathe is for them to go completely unnoticed and unperceived. That is their only power. They don't have the power of their own bodies. They only have the power of moving in and out and whispering and talking. And the moment we feel fear about something, as an example, they're jumping straight in, and their aim is to enlarge that fear. Say if you're frightened of the dark, for example, they will be looking to expand that fear. Do silly things, make that a reality, make it really scary. Go somewhere unsafe now to prove that. Here's footsteps. All of this whole thing is an expansion for them. Expand your fears. No, deal with our fears. Find out where they come from. Deal with them. Release it. Don't need to go back there again. Fully deal with it. If it's personal trauma or whatever, don't need to go back there again. They can't come in again on that. They can't come in again on that. You've put a wall up. You've put a wall up on that. We've got to be putting walls up we've got to resolve deeply. We've got to look at our fears, have sovereignty, believe them, listen to them, no matter how far-fetched they are. Just ourselves, just listening to them. Give them life, give them life. If we don't give them life and a voice, we will be constantly having these gaps and holes within our spiritual body for these darker spirits to make our life hell. And they will whisper what we believe anyway. If the fear is there, they will whisper. God, I'm really ugly. God, my God, look at how fat my bottom looks. Whatever it is, this is why the social media thing can become so very toxic, because a little spark of anger will start, a spark of upset, a spark starts only. And then the multiple spirits will all be jumping in, not just from the one person, but from 10, 20, 30. How many multiples are surrounding 100 people, 200, 1,000? How many multiples? That is why this grows into such a monster. This, perhaps an anger about this. And it only started as a little spark. Another little spark with a person over there, another same spark over there, another, and you've almost got world war, with this intensity of hatred and bitterness And where is it all coming from? It only started as a small thing. And that's why it potentially can be, I mean, it's a great vehicle for the darker spirits, really. Because they can get straight on that train and go faster, go to places, go to people much quicker than they could normally go to. You know, the train is much faster. You know, there's trains everywhere, going to different people here, there and everywhere. People are stopping watching the news, which, you know, is not so good if we want to really know what's going on. You know, people will stop because there's this negative build, enlargement, growth of these monsters all the time that we don't want. It doesn't help us in our life if we want to go down positive directions and create things positively from ourselves. If we get hooked in to all these arguments and all these really angry kind of nasty things that build. But the very, very dark spirits are very, very nasty characters, very, very nasty beings. And so they will drag the arguments as low as they can. Their denominators are very low. They've got the lowest common denominator. So an argument that might have started perhaps in a reasonable manner, it's just an example, but something reasonable will be dragged down by darker spirits. They don't want people moving up into positivity and joy and enlightenment. They're looking to drag everything down, where they can feed, where they can hop in and out of bodies, unnoticed and unseen. Whisper to us, drag us down. Once we accept this and open the door to this, it's not madness, it's a freeing up. Because we can learn to keep more centered, deal with our pain traumas, deal with things, close up our spiritual holes, our weak points, all our weak points on us. Learn to dismiss the whispering. You know, the self-talk that's usually very negative, that can going on. Resolve whatever it's related to, and then the law of attraction won't allow these darker spirits keep on banging at that door. They'll be banging at the door, but they won't be getting in by the window. You'll have closed the door. And when we close our doors to these things by healing, genuinely healing these wounds, that is the closing of the door. Not plastering over the wounds, pretending it's not there, but really looking at the wound, looking at the mess of it, the horrible side of it, the awfulness of it, the oozingness of it. And then it will heal itself. It will heal. And then you've literally created a cement wall that cannot be breached. And when a similar situation comes along, it will be different. You will be different. You won't be open to the bacteria, the nasty whispering. You're much more likely to turn away from it, look at something different, walk in a different direction. It allows us to go where we want to go with joy, to walk in a different direction, to take the path we want to take, to start creating a separation with the darker ones. But that separation has to begin within. Because we are only energy, not really physical body, we are only energy. And if those energy points are banged up and all beaten up and got dents and holes and all sorts of things, and that's how we end up being. You know, we're walking through, we're like the walking wounded. We'll avoid that situation because that hurts. We'll avoid that. Oh, I can't. And then we're all twisted up like this. That's what our energy is kind of like. So we have to change all that. We have to change. The only way to change the outside is to change the energy of inside within, first of all. And then we can stop this kind of game that's going on and start to then, oh, I wonder why I wasn't getting involved or dragged in that direction anymore. Because you weren't playing the game anymore. There was no game for them to play. And they have to go somewhere else, to someone who will play that game. They'll be upset, they'll be pissed. It's like, I've been able to play that game on that person for years, absolutely years. And now I've got to go somewhere else. Good riddance. Good riddance. Let them go somewhere else. That's exactly, let them go somewhere else. It's once we understand this and accept this kind of consciousness, we can start to create our own energetic separation from things that shouldn't be moving in and out of us, really. It's our body. We can live our life in our body how we want to. We can do the things we want to do. We shouldn't be allowing anything and anyone just to, when we're miserable, allowing. We can't stop access. We can't stop access because it's like everything is one. There's just this huge bolt of fabric, and we're all waft and weft. We're all joined up. From Great Mother Earth, we're all joined up. We're all joined up. So there isn't separation, really. Everything can move in and out, unless we take ownership of our bodies. Then, with losing the pain, and then those darker spirits will just have to go somewhere else, and then we begin to have more sovereignty over our own self. But then we have sovereignty over our own energy. Because if a darker spirit gets on the ride and takes us down that horrible, horrible road we didn't really want to go on again, it will use up all our energy until we're spent. Drop us when we're absolutely knackered. Oh, God, I'm knackered. I've got a hangover, whatever. Oh, I feel awful. God, I can't do anything for days now. Yeah, they finished with us by that point. They go somewhere else. So we're allowing these things to use our energy. What would we have liked to do with that energy? Well, we would have loved to have played the piano with it and done, I don't know, as an example, done a week learning the piano. How amazingly we would have progressed if we had used that energy that had been hijacked by something else and used that energy in the direction we wanted to put that energy in. So by creating the separation, we have sovereignty over our energies. And that energy we have sovereignty over will allow us to go in the direction we want to go in, not keep getting hijacked. But we will continue to be hijacked if we do not work out which bits they are coming in and hijacking. It's like our weak points are their strong points. Our strong points are their weak points. So that's what they wanted to say today.